Hello, Canucks fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, brought to you by the great folks over at Zephyr Epic. You can use promo code HockeySeason, capital H, capital S, all one word, Hockey Season. That will get you $5 off your order at ZephyrEpic.com. That is ZEPHYR Epic.com. Check out their retail location in Surrey as well. Promo code Hockey Season still works there, but if you choose to shop online, you can enjoy free shipping Canada-wide on any order over $50. Be sure to go check them out, Zephyr Epic. My name is David Corgelli. I'm joined as always by the man who built the place, Chris Faber, for one more week.
What are you going to do for the intro?
What do you mean?
The man who took over the place? I'm David Quadrelli. Are you going to do that?
No, I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem. I'm sure at least once I will call the new co-host the man who built the place because it's burned into my memory. Would you get a good card?
Oh, well, I mean, not great. I mean, for me, yes. Young Guns of Kirill Marchenko.
That got you excited like that?
Well, you don't understand, man. This guy, Kirill Marchenko, Vasily Podkolzin's line mate at SKA. They were both drafted really high, and there were two young kids who played on a fourth line for SKA. They got 7 minutes a night, and Marchenko, I like him, and then he comes into the NHL, and he was on a tear when he came into the NHL last year. He was really good. He scores a lot of goals. I think he scored I got to look this up. The stat from him last year was crazy how many goals he scored before he got an assist. KHL vibes there, if you get what I'm putting down here.
I can't wait for the new co-host.
Yeah, leave now.
I'm excited for the new co-host, but no, I am joking. Of course, I'll miss you. Everybody's asking me. Everybody's coming up to me. We had morning or practice today.
Right,
just coming up to me. Oh, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I give a damn. I'm very happy for you. You know that.
Marchenko, man.
Speaking of happy for people.
Oh, what the hell?
Oh my gosh, he's back.
If you thought that I was going to give up one last show to defend my Edmonton Oilers, are we back? Are we back? Are we good? I see it on the screen right there. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still here for one last ride because I couldn't let Quads get away with this, talking about the oil, or maybe we're just going to brush past the Heritage, knowing you. You probably would just brush past the Heritage Club.
Everybody else, yeah.
But the Oilers, are we back? I think we might be back. No, it's the Calgary Flames, but
they're 12 points back on the Vegas Golden Knights.
They're back, all right.
They are back, yes.
Well, it was a good time. I was boots on the ground at Commonwealth Stadium for the Heritage Classic. It was such a vibe in there, man. I've never been. Did you guys go to the other one in Vancouver years ago?
No, I didn't. Did you?
No, I didn't go to that.
Yeah, it was like you heard Tanev talking about it. It was closed. And I actually want to talk about this at some point. Just like it feels like the Winter Classic, the Heritage Classic, they've all lost the shine. And I don't know why you're putting it on a Sunday. Maybe it had to do with both teams being bad, but it felt like nobody really cared about this one. And in recent years, even, and this is regardless of which teams are playing, in recent years, it feels like people haven't really cared about the Heritage Classic, the Winter Classic. You know, there was that one on Lake Tahoe, which was really funny because the ice started melting, and that was great. But like, it feels like the shine's kind of off. And I think the first one was played 2007. No. 2008. 2008. No.
3.
What? The first Winter Classic?
It was the Oilers versus the Habs. They were all there yesterday. Jose Theodore wore that toque on his helmet. Remember?
Yes. Okay. Wow. But my point being is that I feel like the peak of it, at least for me, and maybe this is because I was a child at the time.
Yep.
The peak of it for me was like, early 2010s when
he got knocked out.
Yeah, when it was Crosby playing in the game. Like that was for me. Maybe it's because they added it to the NHL. NHL 12 had the Winter Classic mode, or maybe that was 11. I don't know which one it was, but they had the Winter Classic. It was really cool, at least to me back then. And I don't know, maybe kids are really into it now, like I was back then. But I don't know. I'm not super. Like, I'm not like, oh my gosh, this is such a novelty. I think the novelty is worn off, is what I'm trying
I will say definitely, like every other year when it's in another city, I've never really cared that much. Just like you said, it's just, it happens every year, a couple times a year. But having it in my own backyard, it was pretty sweet. All weekend, the NHL world gathered here for this. So it was pretty sweet. It did live up to the hype. It wasn't too cold, but once the sun went down, I was in the upper bowl with the common man up there, drinking a couple pops, and I even did the pregame show before. Got an escort to the game, and then I got to leave. I had to leave with a couple minutes left to do the postgame show. grind never stops over here. And then we went out for a couple beers at Greta last night. And for a Sunday night,
folks.
Edmonton was bumping.
Good folks over there. No, what I think the only thing that I don't really care about the outdoor games, what would get me going, I've heard a couple people discuss this. You know that rink that's like up in the mountains? Like play it up in Banff.
I would like
play it
that.
up in Whistler, and it doesn't. I know that you're not going to make all the money of like filling an arena with the ticket prices, but the sites that you're going to get for the game are going to be worth it. If you play up in Whistler, if you play up in Banff, if you play in some of these spots where it's like just put the players out there, make sure the ice is really good, have a full ice crew out there, but like that's it. Like get the sights and sounds of just playing in the mountaintop and some of these beautiful spots that they got a helicopter you up to go play. Like I just think
that's parachute in to play.
Oh yeah,
that'd be sick.
I think it's. I think
so. No fans is what you're suggesting.
It doesn't. You don't need fans. I don't think.
But I think you do.
The sites that you can get from that would sell the game so much better.
Yeah, but from a dollar's perspective,
I think it's an investment that you got to make. Not everything's dollars and cents, quads.
Okay.
I think everything is now dollars and cents, but I like that.
I'm not sure. Not sure.
All right, you guys get back on topic and
my tongue here on this one.
Back on the hype train over there, Aaron Bordado joining. By surprise.
And the thing I said before the show was that, that was a game that it was two teams with bad records right now. And it was like that NFL game where it's like, okay, well, one of these teams has to win. Yeah. One of these teams is going to win. Two bad teams.
You know how many goals Marchenko scored before getting an assist in the NHL?
How many, Chris?
13 goals he scored before getting one assist.
That's actually pretty impressive.
It's really impressive. Marchenko, so I can finish my thought before we got interrupted by this freaking oily boy over here. All right. Vancouver Canucks dominating 5-0 win on Friday against the Blues. He got 2 goals from Hughes. Quads, your bet's looking pretty good with Quinn Hughes here.
Which still stands. I made it clear that bet still stands.
Yeah, but I mean, really good game for him, obviously. Really good game for the Canucks through and through. That was a professional win on Friday night. You had 3 points from JT Miller as well, and the 22-save shutout for Demko. And the Canucks showed well. I know you asked Rick Tocchet this last week about it. Do you take it as kind of a show of respect or something about getting the team's 2 starters? They got the Blues starter. They got Shesterkin on Saturday. And man, I thought it was an excellent weekend for the Vancouver Canucks coming out of 3 of a possible 4 points. We'll get into the reffing in a little bit here from Saturday night, but from Friday night, what do you say when somebody writes a good article? Like no notes. Like for me, Friday night, I'm like no notes. Like that was how you win a game professionally against a team that's coming in on the second of back-to-backs.
And the mood in the locker room was we deserved a better outcome there. Like that's what the players were saying was we deserved a better outcome.
On Saturday, you're talking.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
Friday, fantastic game. Like you said, don't need to talk about it too much. They should be beating the Blues.
On a second of back-to-backs, you do that. If they can do that consistently throughout the season, they're a playoff team. Like that kind of win is what a playoff team does. That's the type of thing that we talk about with the Tampa Bay Lightning, with the Boston Bruins of past. Those type of teams that know how to win against the playoffs, you win that game on Friday every single way, just like that.
You should be winning that if you're a playoff team, but those are the games in the past that the Canucks have dropped, and that's where the memes come from of like Canucks just got blanked by a goalie we've never heard of. Usually they'd be getting the backup in a game like that, right? And then they would still lose. Like you would hear the excuses come out in games like that, and for it just to be it was a scheduled win, and the Canucks treated it like such.
Business, man.
It was a business-like win, which is what Tocchet wanted to see.
And that's been talked about the rink, around the rink so much lately. It's just a lot of this feels like business, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, that's the way the players are acting. They're not getting too high. They're not getting too low. It's been good. Then I think we can talk more about Saturday's game, because I thought Saturday's game, there's a lot more talking points anyways. Do you want to start with the missed penalty in overtime on Pedersen?
Yeah, I wrote about
the
this.
video here as well.
Yeah, I wrote about this for Canucks Army the night of.
So the way the game ended, you're in overtime. Elias Pettersson goes in. I think it was pretty clear that it was K'Andre Miller who did the trip, right? He got his foot out there a little bit extra that caught Pettersson, and then Kreider? He comes down and scored. Kreider was the one. Yeah, you're right. It was the left shot guy. K'Andre Miller had the goal that finished it. And
the fact that it was Kreider immediately makes me think a little bit more.
He knows.
Like,
he knows what he's doing, right? Yeah. Like he knows what he's doing there a lot. I think the replay gets a little bit better here in the YouTube. It goes to a second camera view, but man, the Canucks really pushed back in that game too. Like, you got the goals from Carson Soucy, you got the goal from Tyler Myers, which we'll play in a second. That was incredible. So I mean, Pettersson hangs his foot a little bit, but to me, that's a trip through and through. I mean, you get a 3-on-1 going back the other way because of that play.
Yeah.
And some of the calls that were made in the third period, at the end of the second period, like the calls that were made in that game, that was a lot lighter. I know that the too many men one was kind of tough because it looked like Pettersson like hesitated a little bit, like he was going to stay on, and then he went off, and Joshua already came on. But Pettersson ended up going off. That one was pretty soft in its own right of the too many men. Like you see a lot of changes like that in the NHL. It's not like you need to wait for the guy to get on the bench to get off. Like that was a little bit of that weird area, maybe a little bit too much because Pettersson had the little hesitation to go to the bench, but tough night for the refs, I just think, in the end. Like that was not a well officiated game, I thought. Canucks did some damage to themselves, like the Philip Hronek puck over glass, those type of things, giving them 5-on-3s. But man, I thought throughout against a team that to me in the New York Rangers, that's a for sure playoff team that's probably winning a round or two out over there in the Eastern Conference. Canucks, I thought they outplayed the hell out of them at 5-on-5. Aside from the 5-on-3s, the Canucks would have walked away with that game on a second night of back-to-backs. They looked like a better team that game.
The Canucks haven't given up a 5-on-5 goal in 7 periods.
Yep.
That is very impressive in its own right. But the fact that it was a team like New York, who are an actual cup contender.
That's a good point.
Like they're actually playing like one. They're not at the bottom of the standings.
Right.
They're actually playing like a very good team. And the Canucks handled them very well at 5-on-5. And like you said, the 5-on-3s ended up costing them. There was a lot of penalties, 11 penalties called in that game. I think up until the end, it was probably one of those nights where both teams would say, come on, are you kidding me? To the refs. And we saw the Rangers complain about a few calls, and I think they had legitimate gripes on a couple of them at the very least. Obviously, the Canucks...
And then the game ends on it. The worst is when a game... it's like the icing, it's the cherry on top of the icing when the game ends because of a call like that or a missed call like that.
That's the thing. If you're the NHL and you want to promote betting and you want people to start betting on your sport and all of this stuff, you need to figure this out because you can't have games decided on missed calls. And that's the thing. Here's what bugs me, Chris. If these officials were made available to media and could say, you know what, that was the right call. I even got a chance to watch it. That wasn't a trip. Then okay, that's their answer. And talk it, we're left to kind of speak to the players, the coach about this to try to tell the story as media when the refs have inserted themselves into the story and have become the story.
And then we have to ask the coach to get the part of the story. You don't get the actual person.
It's a disservice to fans that the refs make themselves a part of the story in the first place, but it's an even bigger disservice that the refs can't then comment on it. And they can't at least, they can't say, yeah, that's how I saw it, or yeah, you know what, I made a mistake. Because, hey, if you own up to a mistake, that's one thing, right? But the fact that a game was decided on it feels like there needs to be some level of
accountability.
I don't want to say accountability. I don't want to say no. I don't want to say accountability because the refs. A lot of people don't know this. The refs after every game have to go speak to master ref or whoever, and they have to go over all of their calls. I heard Dave Jackson explain this on our friends over at Leafs Morning Take. Dave Jackson's the rules analyst for ESPN. He's a former NHL referee. And he talked about the process. They have a process in place,
for sure,
right? I'm not, and sure, maybe they do need a little more accountability. But what I'm trying to say, Chris, is I don't know if you want to go full VAR and you have, challenges on every play because I feel like that's where we'd be headed. I don't think you want that, but I think any game deciding goal should be reviewable. Like any go ahead goal, it should be reviewable in terms of okay, what was the things that happened on the play leading up to that. Do you know what I mean? And you'd have to come up with some sort of grace period because I currently hate the offside challenge where there was a zone entry 3 minutes ago. The team cycles it around, they score, and then the 3 minute ago zone entry is called offside via review.
Right.
And now it comes back. I hate that. I think that's bad for the game. You got to have some sort of level of, okay, after a certain amount of time has passed, this team's controlling the zone. And this play didn't really affect it. But when it's like this, where it just happened, and then they go the other way and score, at that point, you need to be able to, throw your flag if you're talking, throw your red flag and say, I want this looked at. I want this penalty looked at because I want to, I don't think this goal should count.
I think what you got to a little while ago there was about just like having somebody be able to talk to the refs after the game. To pull back the curtain a little bit, like each city, each team has like a city rep. Like you have your PHWA, the Professional Hockey Writers Association. Each team has a rep. Like I think it should be those guys should have access. Like we don't need to make a big scrum with 20 microphones to talk to the ref because he's the story of the game. But, make it your local. And a lot of the guys are traveling as well. A lot of the reps for your city or your town that represents the team at these PHWA meetings, you can have one or two guys. It would be the home guy, or maybe if the away guy is traveling, he can also be in the scrum with the refs. And it's not even a scrum. It's more of a conversation. Here's an explained thing for fans to understand. That makes the most sense to me. And that's you don't need you and I and everybody else running in there with our mics to get, the quote from the ref about the game. One guy to explain it. Talk to the media, and then let that media handle it from there.
Even the explanations that we get about goaltender interference, like that's another big one.
Yeah,
obviously, the explanations we get because the NHL PR emails media, like we get emails explaining it, and it's like after review we determined there was goaltender interference. Like those are the explanations we get. We don't get some. Oh, here's a really clear explanation of why this was goalie interference. It's just. Yeah, he collided with his left pad or whatever, and it's like this was goaltender interference. It's like it's just a disservice to fans, to everybody that consumes this game. It's a disservice.
No, it was what I like though about Saturday night. So that play happens at the end, the game's over. How many times last year where you're just like, whatever. Last night, people like on Saturday, people gave a damn because it felt like this team felt like they were robbed. In before it was just like, that's just the way it goes in Vancouver. On Saturday night, it felt like they were robbed a little bit of a point there. And it's like 1 point, but the way the teams are running at the start of the season, it wasn't like the reaction on social media from Canucks fans like showed that people gave a damn, which was kind of fun. And speaking of giving a damn,
Tyler Myers.
How about that? Let's get this out. We could play this on a loop for the rest of the show because Quads, you were there you were there on Saturday night. I was there on Saturday night.
Electric.
Have we heard a louder roar from the crowd? You can sort of get it here as a glitchy video plays on our YouTube here. But Tyler Myers shorthanded 2-on-1 situation and then just fires it over Igor Shesterkin, one of the best goaltenders in the league. Just start off a double minor penalty kill and give the Canucks a 2-1 lead in the third period. Are you kidding me? That's the loudest cheer I've heard in years at Rogers Arena. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Like that place lit up.
Look at that kid. Look at the kid in the flannel. That's electric.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. Even the press box, nobody was cheering, but like utter disbelief is the only way to describe it.
A couple people down in my section were.
Well, yeah, you're now on the content team.
Yeah, I'm down there doing fist bumps after
dark side, yeah.
Yeah, the dark side they call
Anyways.
it. But Tyler Myers, shorthanded, picks it up and just fires a wrist. Like,
so what work are you doing down there with the content team? Like all 20 of you. I see one tweet go out. So what are they all doing?
20 people down there. There's only a handful of people.
Handful.
Yeah.
At least 4.
Yeah. That's less than a handful.
How many people does it take to send a tweet? Because that's all I'm seeing during games, Chris.
Well, you try and make a graphic. Let's see you put it together, a graphic to tweet out.
I make graphics all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
How many people does it take to do that? I'm counting 2.
Well, I've seen your graphics.
You were there just eating popcorn.
You can't even. I don't eat popcorn. It gets stuck in my teeth. I just drink green teas.
You do drink the green teas.
I do. Every
I
game
had cake for JPAT. We don't have a photo of it, but I know.
And you talk about this whole splitting down the media. I'm with the team side. I didn't see a piece of cake.
I offered you a piece of cake.
I didn't see a piece of cake.
You're just lying now because there was one that I pointed at and said, "Hey, have some cake if you want it. There's 2 left."
Yeah, but it was too small. There were 2 small slices, 2 really thin ones that was left for me. I said, "No, I either want a real piece or I want no piece at all." That's what actually happened.
All right, nothing worse than that. Hey,
no,
on the contrary, there is 2 things worse than that.
Your fantasy team,
burger,
yeah,
or your fantasy team.
There you go.
Are ice cold. And that's why Wendy's is offering fresh prizes all season long with Wendy's Daily Face-Off Survivor Fantasy. The game lives weekly on dailyfaceoff.com with weekly prizes and a season-long prize of $5,000 up for grabs. It's simple. Sign up, play, and then get free stuff on the Wendy's app. You pick a prop that's going to happen in the game, and the longer you survive with correct answers, the more you can win from Wendy's. So while you obsess over your dream team, reward that dedication with Wendy's new obsession, the very real barbecue bacon cheeseburger. Freshly added to the Wendy's lineup, enjoy the Applewood smoked bacon and crispy onions as cheese melts over the fresh, never frozen Canadian beef. Next week, be prepared to sign up for the Wendy's Daily Face-Off Survivor game. This week it's up, right?
Don't ask me.
Aaron, you gotta help.
I got 1 foot out the door.
Yeah, I know you do.
Anonymous reviewer says Tyler Myers playing much better in the past 2 games. Hey, you got to say, like, he had that really nice assist to Phil Di-Giuseppe as well, springing him. That was a good play. A lot of people didn't mention that, but like Brock Besser's kind of fly by there to like almost a fake, like he was going to be a guy going on the middle,
Yeah.
opened up that whole area for Frid-USA to score that goal. And Tyler Myers made a good pass there. But yeah, he's been playing a lot better, moving the puck a lot better for sure. So
Oh,
you
he
can
has
keep that-
undoubtedly
do you
been
think,
better.
Do you think that's because of the spot that he's put in now, like third pairing, 13 minutes a night? Do you think that
Played what, close to 18 in that game against Nashville?
yeah, no, I think
Or
he's
St.
been-
Louis, excuse me.
He's been much better. I'll say that. That's
Yeah, he has. He's played better. Another guy who got some love from Tocchet today at practice was Nils Höglander,
oh, he's
who
been good.
Tocchet has been very impressed with. We talked about it last week. Nothing's changed for me, Chris. Like, nothing's changed for me that Nils Höglander needs to stay in the lineup when Teddy Bluger comes back.
Mm.
I am very pleased with what I've
Oh,
seen
he
from Nils
looks-
Höglander because we've
improved.
talked so much about, yeah, he's probably going to make the team, but the idea was he's making the team because they don't want to lose him on waivers. But did he deserve a spot when we were looking at it and looking at everybody that was on the training camp roster? Heading into camp, I don't think we really thought, yeah, this guy hammered down the door for a job. He deserves to be here. I think Nils Höglander deserves to be here solely based on what he's doing night in and night out for this team right now.
He is a firecracker. on
That
the
fourth
board.
line could be a problem when Teddy Bluger comes back too.
Yep.
And Teddy Bluger hasn't skated yet. He's supposed to very soon. So we'll see when that happens. But Garland, another guy that Tocchet said he's been impressed with.
Yeah. I mean, you're liking a lot of what they're doing in the bottom six, getting a little bit of contribution there. But the other thing I wanted to bring up too was, so the Canucks score 8 goals over the weekend. Do I got that right? 5 and 3, 8. Yeah. 4 of those goals from the back end, man. You got the 2 from Hughes on Saturday, right? And then you got Myers and Soucy. Half their goals over the weekend of a weekend that was very successful for them come from the back end. We just didn't see that last year. Like, we didn't see the defense adding any offense last year. Even Quinn Hughes, like, he wasn't scoring a lot of goals. He was creating a lot of offense for sure with his, the amount of assists he put up. But that back end adding some goals, it's so massive when you get like a point shot that's like Soucy can shoot the puck, right? Like, I know he's not like an elite shooter, but man, like he can really, he gets pucks on net with some pace. And that's just something like, you're not asking the sun, the moon, and the stars there. You're just asking for a good shot that can beat a goaltender with some traffic. I think Soucy can give you that. Like, I've liked the way that he shot the puck from the blue line this season.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that he was kind of the guy to, just the fact that we're getting offense from the blue line, especially, was very good to see.
And you brought it up. They didn't allow a 5-on-5 goal. They didn't allow one over the weekend. It's been 7 periods now without a 5-on-5 goal against. Can we get the Corsi up here too? I wanted to get the top guys from the weekend Corsi. And for Corsi, basically a measurement of, look at Aaron does such a damn good job over there splitting that thing up. Mark Friedman and Ian Cole. The numbers that we got here, Mark Friedman over the weekend, an 81.8% Corsi. So Corsi, for people who don't understand, is attempted shots. So when Mark Friedman was on the ice this past weekend, there was 36 attempted shots for the Vancouver Canucks and only 8 shots against. A lot of time in the offensive zone for that pairing. Number 2 on that list, Ian Cole, similar numbers, 34 shots for, 11 shots against. I mean, hell of a job by that pairing in the role that they were using. They sort of top 4, sort of bottom pairing. Like, they're a little bit of both right now, right? They're kind of rotating through that pairing. But if they continue to play like this, maybe they are the second pairing.
I think you have to look at them in that manner. Like, they are the second pairing for this team.
Yeah.
What does it say about this team that Mark Friedman was in the AHL
Top pairing
a week ago, and now he's on their second pairing? I think it says a few things, and not all negative things. I know that might be taken only as a negative. Obviously, roster construction, blah, 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 all that, whatever. One thing I look at is that the Canucks now have a system where a guy can come in, and if he does the right things and is playing by their system, he's going to be fine. And I think that's what we're seeing with Mark Friedman right now. Like, this is the thing. I think we've talked about this, Chris, you and I. Like, think about Jalen Chatfield was able to actually become a guy in Carolina. Like,
NHLer, yeah.
Outplayed Ethan Bear, who we are patiently waiting for on this team to return. Jalen Chatfield outplayed Ethan Bear in Carolina. They were more comfortable having Jalen Chatfield over Ethan Bear in Carolina. That's a wild statement, because Jalen Chatfield looked lost every time he played for the Canucks. He never looked good for the Vancouver Canucks. And is this another case where you're seeing a coaching staff that actually kind of does the teaching and has a much stronger system in place, like actual structure in place? Is that the result of that? Because I think it is.
It's not just the defense. You can see it with a lot of people saying Frid-USA, what's he doing in the top 6? He's playing that role to a T. right? Like he's playing what that line needs to a T. That's why he's having success in the top 6. Is Phil DiGiuseppe a top 6 player on every team in the NHL? Probably not. But here in Vancouver, because he's playing that role so well alongside JT Miller and Brock Besser, that's why he's there, because he's doing a good job of the job that is asked of him. And we saw, man, did we not see this at practice today? How different do these practices look? Right?
Yeah.
They're not just drills. You're not just running through drills anymore. You're running through drills. You're stopping them. You're telling players this. You're doing this. In between, it feels like the Canucks have 2 coaches running each drill. Then the other coaches are just bouncing around telling players things. And it just looks different at practice, right? And Adam Foote is huge in that role. Yeah, you should see Adam Foote at a practice, working with all the defensemen. After every single drill, every rep that they run through, Adam Foote's grabbing somebody and telling them something. Instead of just going through the motions, what is it? It's practice with a purpose, right? Is that something the Talkit's been saying?
Oh, yeah.
That it's so noticeable. It's not a 12-minute skate around anymore. They worked hard for an hour, man. They worked really hard for an hour today.
After the Halloween party. JT Miller asked him for a comment on his costume.
Didn't want it. Yeah.
He said, nope, costume speaks for itself.
Yeah, it did.
Which is fair enough.
Sure
he was
does.
a Playboy bunny, for those that don't know.
I was hoping we could talk to Brock Besser today, because he was the Avatar.
I was hoping that too.
I wonder how long that took, because he looked, that costume was pretty damn good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of pretty damn good.
The BC Lions, yep.
Bring the noise, fill the dome.
Yep.
A home playoff game on Saturday, November 4th at 3:30. Tickets are on sale now at bclions.com. You start at $30, and kids 17 and under can get in for just $15.
Mm-hmm.
Bring the noise. Fill the dome.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good atmosphere. I really hope I can get out. Canucks play that night as well. So if you're staying home, it's a long day.
Double.
Yeah, it's a long day of sports watching.
I love a good Saturday doubleheader.
And when you're doing that, do you know what you're going to want, Chris?
Oh, geez, yeah.
You know what you're going to want?
Nope.
You're going to want a 4 Winds Light. A light lager, crisp, clean, and easy drinking beer.
Oh, yeah.
It's time now for the Prospect Roundup, a presentation of our friends at 4 Winds Brewing, family owned and operated in Delta. As we said, it's the home to the 4 Winds Light Lager, a light lager that's crisp, clean, and serves for easy drinking.
Light the lamp
for everyone. A perfect beer for before, after, or during the game. Ask for 4 Winds Light Lager at your local liquor store, or have some delivered right to your door through the online shop at 4windsbrewing.ca. All right, Prospect Roundup. What do you got for us?
I got 3 images. We're going to roll through them. Arshdeep Bains in the AHL. Where's he at? Number one. Arshdeep Bains, 13 points. He's got 3 goals and 10 assists through 8 games. But most importantly, that's all good stuff, leading the AHL. But I tell you what, he got the call this week, Thursday. You're going to see him here on Canucks Conversation. Arshdeep Bains going to join us on Thursday to talk about his hot start to the season. And Abbotsford, I believe, tomorrow back in action, right? They're wrapping up the California road trip. Tomorrow, you might see another name on there, Christian Wolanin, 13 points in 8 games. Did he get a Canucks combo bump? Some are saying yes. Some are saying yes. Because he came on the show last week, he's been ripping it up. A lot of people are saying that. So this is our first one here, a little prospect thing. I know Wolanin's not technically really a prospect of the prospect age. Arshdeep Bains sure is, though, okay? And he's leading the AHL in scoring. Speaking of leading a league in scoring, let's get to the OHL scoring here. Hunter Brzustewicz. He's got 25 points, leading the whole OHL in scoring. But that's not the biggest news out of the OHL. Kirill Kudryavtsev, as I tell you, my tongue's going to get into a knot saying all these names. Kirill Kudryavtsev named OHL Player of the Week as well. He's over a point per game now and kind of creeping up on Hunter B. We know Hunter B's been off to a hell of a start this season. 25 points in 13 games. The guy's just ripping out. That Kitchener team, boat races some of the times you're watching that team play. But Brzustewicz is off to a hell of a start, and he's leading the OHL. And he's a defenseman, man. Right shot defenseman. 18 years old. And you know what else is funny? I wrote this in the article about Kudryavtsev. Canucks have 3 prospects in the OHL. The Ontario Hockey League, how many of them are Canadian?
None.
Yeah, you got a Swede, a Russian, and an American playing in the OHL and ripping it up all 3. You see Vilmer Ulrichsen. He's got 4 goals in his last 6 games. The big fella's starting to heat up too. Man, vibes are high right now with the Vancouver Canucks. Good time to go work for him. Jonathan Lekkerimäki, he's scored again. He's leading the SHL in goals rate. Let's get the last graphic up here because I'm telling you, I just got what do I got here? Just a bunch of top of the league in scoring, and all you see is Canucks logos. Jonathan Lekar-Mackey, 8 goals in 14 games. Okay. I think someone texted or sent me a message the other day saying 42 goals is the SHL record, just so you know. I said, okay, we'll see what happens here. There's a long way to go here. But Jonathan Lekar-Mackey's been excellent. And the goal he scored the other day, you saw this one, right? The rush up the middle there.
Yeah.
The confidence on this kid. I said it before, I'll say it again. He looks like a different prospect from last year. You have to think the thing's really like all the stuff he went through last year with, with the mono, with the concussion, the foot injury. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's going to affect you. We're starting to really see that now. And I think he's thriving in the better league with better teammates as well. I think that does make a difference on a player who has so much skill. You want him to play with skilled players. So Lekar-Mackey now leading the SHL in goals, 8 goals up to there right now. So that's your little prospect roundup there, brought to you by the light lager there at 4 Winds. Light lager. It's a 4% beer. So Quad's going to have 2 of these before he starts stumbling.
Oh, geez. All right. Shorter show today. We talked about it, but we still want to get in anyone else.
Anyone else is a good one,
of course. Time for anyone else, presented by DoorDash. It's our listeners' chance to get involved. Hit us up in the YouTube live chat, and it's also our listeners' chance to get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more. That's right. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code NATION25. All capital letters there. NATION25. Offer valid in Canada. Subject change. Terms apply. What do we got here?
So the graphic looked pretty good for a half second, and it ended up.
Sam Ross brought it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably should have touched on this.
We definitely should have, and we should.
That's a mistake on our end.
Rest in peace, Adam Johnson.
Yep. Man.
Ian Cole spoke about it today.
Yeah, I didn't want to watch the video.
Carson Soucy.
Some people did it.
Carson Soucy and Sam Lafferty both played with this guy, both had a relationship with this guy, and it's just heartbreaking. Our thoughts obviously go out to Adam Johnson's family and obviously his friends. I don't even know what to say. The topic of net guards came up a lot today. Really, really hard topic to talk about.
Yeah,
I thought
Sam Lafferty, I don't know if they're going to post a full interview, but Sam Lafferty speaking about this was, I thought, incredibly difficult, but I thought he did a really good job talking about a guy that just everybody loved, Adam Johnson. And man, it's a horrible tragedy to happen in a game. And this is on a week where 2 stretchers in the AHL, one of them was Vasily Podkolzin, and then a death. I mean, right? Like it's horrible. I don't know what else. Like, I don't know what to say on the situation. I don't really want to talk about like the net guards or these type of things. But
yeah,
I wonder if this is a conversation now going on more with the players, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this type of thing affects the whole hockey world. This came out of the British League, right? Like, it's just a horrible, and rest in peace to Adam Johnson, the whole family. I'm sure, I can't imagine what they're going through. Losing. I did a lot of work with this with the union of people dying on the work site. It was something that we had. It was the day of mourning that we had, and how difficult that is for families, knowing that it's something that in my line of work is like when I was at the mill, it's not really necessarily something that you love, but doing something that you have to do to kind of support your family. You're going to work and doing that. To this situation here with him playing hockey, just unreal situation that you just hope can never happen again. But I mean, like, it's fast game and scary. Just the scariest thought possible about a hockey player has to be this situation. And I don't know what else to say really, aside from, rest in peace. And I hope that it feels like there's a massive amount of support for the family, for the players, for the teammates that were there with him. I hope that the right support system can help, but no measure of support can help you kind of just move on from this easily. It's incredibly difficult. I can't imagine what the family's going through.
Yeah. JT Miller today even said, he's like, it's a dangerous game, and it's kind of lucky that this kind of stuff doesn't happen more often. Horrible, horrible situation for everyone involved. Like, it's just, it's so, like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And I don't want to try to pretend like I do.
Nope.
Very,
yeah,
very
I mean, it's something like I saw, the other day watching Vasily Podkolzin have the seizure. I'm thinking, like, man, you forget that, like, players are wearing blades on their feet. The ice is very hard. Guys are full contact. Like, it's a scary sport when things go bad. And I guess maybe there are times where it's somewhat taken for granted a little bit, right? Like it's just a sport that we see the Canucks go out and play every 2 games, and it is a tragedy that can happen. And I think that's something that I don't know what to do from here. I know that players and them are probably having a lot more conversations about it than us, but that's the thing. Like they're the ones going on the ice and doing it. We're just covering the sport. So, yeah, just rest in peace to the family. And I hope that the right support is there. And I think at least from the outside looking in, it feels like the support there's an attempt at the support. And I saw the Ontario Reign went out and named him their first star. He's a former player for the Ontario Reign as well in the AHL. So yeah, bless the family and hope that they can be supported.
Yeah. On that note, we'll wrap it up. Or excuse me, Betway. You got to get to Betway.
Betway. All right, let's wrap it up here with our Betway bet of the day. Tough turn, but we're going to take it. Over 6.5 total goals in the game, and Trevor Zegras to score tonight with the Ducks and Penguins going up against each other. I think you're going to see a lot of goals tonight between the Ducks and the Penguins. Ducks haven't been bad to start the season. They've been all right. San Jose, though. Canucks got San Jose 3 times this month. Is that right? Mm-hmm. 3 times this month the Canucks play San Jose. There's some wins there for sure. So Betway bet of the day, over 6.5 total goals in the game, and Trevor Zegras to score just 1 point. And you're getting that at plus 200. You're a Zegras fan, though. I know you are. You young kids, you all like Trevor Zegras. You guys' favorite player, all you young kids.
Nope, not really.
You like the flash that he does, right?
Nope.
You and all you young kids, you guys are Trevor Zegras.
I actually
fans.
really don't like Trevor Zegras.
You like him in the shorts on the cover of the NHL games.
Nope.
That's why you buying the hard copy.
No. All right.
Of the game.
Yeah, it's just we're done. We'll wrap it up there for my co-host Chris Faber and our technical producer who made a surprise appearance today, Aaron Bernardo.
Yeah, what the hell?
My name is Dave Quadrelli. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of the Canucks Conversation.
Canucks Conversation with Quads and Faber. New episodes every weekday, 1:30 across the board, except for Wednesdays, 1 o'clock. We'll see you there live on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. For more information, visit CanucksArmy.com.
How about keep it to a thank you, Jim?